Today's horoscope from Astrocademy, Leo September 20th, 2022. The moon spends the day in your partnership sector, and you're open to a different perspective on your life. With a harmonious aspect between Mars and Chiron, you seem to know your next step intuitively. This energy is refreshingly direct, and you can feel very much in your element. Today, your confidence seems to be directly proportional to your ability to take action. Interactions can be inspired and inspiring, and feedback can be motivating. You have a can-do attitude, and you are virtually fearless when it comes to facing problems. Others are drawn to you, enjoying your directness as well. Today and tomorrow will bring you the ability to dive into intense and deep experiences. As the mighty Sun links to powerhouse Pluto, you'll recognize that you have the profound power to take control of your life and wield dominance in your personal and romantic affairs. You may notice that you can leave quite the impression on people, so regardless if you are single or attached, dig deep within to decide how you'd like to communicate at this time. Eliminate fears, accept your strength, and know that others will hear you if you assert yourself at this time. How do you feel about your professional commitments? You may need to work through what you want from your partnerships during the last quarter moon in Gemini. Now is the time to cast judgment, especially if some of your arrangements are somewhat stagnant or unsuccessful. However, it might be challenging to focus on some relationships and obligations over others since Mars in Gemini also sextiles Chiron retrograde in Aries. The sextile suggests that you may need to focus on the professional agreements and partnerships that fill you with joy and ambition. Just a day before the Sun, now in his last weekend in your career sector, is due to move into a friendly aspect to Pluto in your income sector. The moon returns for its monthly visit to your financial sector. With no planetary activity on this side of the financial fence and growing support on the income side, this is a valuable chance to check in as the moon returns to fuel your financial instincts and imagination. Today's transit gives you the feeling that something could be done better if you only had the time to sit down and plan it. Maybe this is your body talking. Are you feeling like there are too many things going on in your life to maintain the healthy lifestyle you would like? First of all, don't judge yourself. Start with where you are today and go from here, setting gentle, realistic goals. Today will be a little bit like a bridge between the past and the future, a period of conclusion and wrapping up projects that you started during the year. You will be sorting things out and getting rid of anything that isn't really essential, conserving only what contributes to your development and equilibrium. The current vibrations are speaking of making your desires concrete. But you will have to be serene and patient because events won't change everything in a few hours. In any case, this phase will be rich in learning experiences. The Sun's last weekend in your career sector is all about looking to the future, but with Mercury retrograding back in for a double-dip visit next week, there is also a need to keep your mind and your options open. With Venus staying on and the dwarf planet Ceres returning after the Sun leaves to begin her first deep dive into your professional needs and priorities in 4 years, there is still a lot more to discover. Meanwhile, a friendly aspect between planets on the playful and adventurous fronts is encouraging you to embrace the weekend spirit. On the same day that Saturn moves into his final 5 weeks in retrograde motion in your communication sector, the moon is wrapping up its first full visit to your relationship sector since Mars' return. With Mars set to turn retrograde next month and work closely with Saturn over the coming months, this leaves you better able to give your emotional responses, relationships, the past, and unsaid words a voice. Our eyes in the sky. The moon went void of course in Gemini yesterday, but it enters Cancer early this morning, and you're probably ready to tackle your goals. And there is a lot you can do to solidify your plans. The Sun in detail-oriented Virgo means you have a ton of determination to keep moving despite any outside interference. All else will begin to make more sense once you let the earthy energy drive you toward commitment. Try not to hold yourself back today even if there are pangs of guilt tapping at your aura. The overall feeling makes you aware of the collective struggle, and you might be all up in your feels for the world right now. Remember that the work you are here to do is enough and why you're being given this chance right now. The message of today's link between Mercury and Jupiter is to be patient with yourself and others. Remember that life is a marathon, not a sprint. Write that down and look at it when things get confusing or you begin to doubt yourself. Those who put in the time and long hours will be rewarded down the road. This is the time to take a chance on yourself and trust your instincts. After midnight, the moon enters Cancer and ends its void of course, which began yesterday afternoon. Over the next 2 days, expect emotions to fluctuate in line with the lunar tides. Under the Cancer moon, we seek somatic methods for self-soothing. What rituals do you engage with when you feel out of sorts? Who do you turn to when in a crisis? Do you have a literal security blanket? Commit to being present with your emotions and delineating what practices help you to feel safe and secure. Mid-afternoon, retrograde Mercury in Libra opposes Jupiter in Aries, its second of 3 passes. The first opposition occurred on September 2nd. Think back to this day to make personal connections. This idealistic influence causes us to lose sight of important details as we get caught up in the excitement of a big-picture plan. With Mercury in retrograde motion, we are especially liable to overextending ourselves, signing hurried contracts, or setting up travel plans or classes with little to no consideration of the long-term repercussions. Hasty choices can be regretted later, although if we have delayed an election and it is still on our minds mid-month, it's a good sign that at least our interest is legitimate and not a passing fad. Use today to review the fine print. Ask those who have gone through similar experiences for advice. It can't hurt to get more information before taking a plunge. Mercury direct and Jupiter will make their final opposition on October 12th, completing this narrative arc.